Okay, you guys hungry? Ready for some breakfast? All right. French toast. It is flax bread. Okay, we'll see you soon.
Okay, have a good day, guys.
See you, Megan. Have a good day. I was really happy. I was struggling to achieve everything I wanted to achieve, of course, having, a family, relationship, a wonderful family, wonderful relationship, but with all the typical struggles you go through in a relationship, that occasionally pop up, and but just a wonderful one at that. I was fortunate enough to be in business, had multiple businesses, and and a heavy workload, lots of stress. But I felt like everything was going as planned, and everything would just, I felt like I had a lot of control over my future. Being in the flower business, I think I've helped a lot of guys. When a guy comes to my flower shop and they're practical like I was, and they would say, I don't want to buy a flower, they die. I don't want to waste my money on flowers, they'll say, I want to buy a plant. Something that'll last, something that she'll be able to keep and remember. And so I always make this guarantee to the guy. Whatever amount of money he was spending on a plant, I make him a deal to buy flowers. And make sure he gives those flowers to her in front of other people. And if he doesn't get the response that makes him just absolutely elated, and he's not absolutely ecstatic about the response, he doesn't have to be satisfied, he has to be ecstatic. Then he can come back and I will refund him for the delivery and the flowers and everything, and I will find double the size plant and he can have it. And I've never had a guy come back, except as a customer. Our flower shop sells flowers that don't die. Started out having pains in the abdomen and irregularities. Like a lot of pains I'd had growing up, you just ignore them. We didn't have insurance. It's kind of entrepreneur with, spending his money everywhere but on himself kind of a thing. It just continually got worse. To one point, we were at a Christmas recital for my daughter. I could hardly pay attention. The pains were so bad to the recital. I had to go outside and buckle over for a while, and eventually I started throwing up. My parents realized what I was going through, and my wife, and decided that they weren't going to let me ignore it anymore, and they hauled me to the emergency room. They did several scans, CAT scan, some x-rays, and blood tests, and gave me a clean bill of health saying that I most likely had gas, and that I should just go to a specialist and see if we can't find out what the problem was. So it's frustrating not knowing what it was, so we did go to a specialist, and we're given the same results. I was actually working out on a travel trailer and just got an attack. Just found myself laying out on the driveway, incapacitated, waiting for it to pass, and that's when my wife found me and hauled me to the emergency room again. I distinctly remember having absolutely no energy left to cope with it. Near the end of the third day, them coming in saying, can't really find anything. However, we see this odd kink in your lower colon, where probably a birth defect. We can go in there and snip that out and you'll probably be just fine. Everybody felt great. you know, that there was a solution to it, and went into surgery. And the next thing I remember was waking up from surgery, and that's when they told me that I had the worst case of colon cancer you can have, stage 4, metastasized to my liver, and hundreds of tumors in my lower pelvic area and throughout my abdomen. They'd taken out my omentum and most of my colon and appendix. Remembering what I felt and what was important to me in that moment was I wanted my wife immediately with me right now, and my kids. Here I was deciding what to do with the last few days, few weeks, months, whatever it could be.
Yum, fish.
Ginger and I both really believe strongly that it's so important to find, whether it's over dinner or sitting around on the couch, but to take some time each day and talk about what they did that day, and what we did and how we feel about the day and the activities, and take a second to plan the next day, which is about as far as we plan anymore.
And part of that plan was, you know, telling the kids and not being, we don't want to scare them, but part of not being afraid is, you know, educating them. And so we didn't want to give them all the details, but just enough so that they knew that there was a problem and that, you know, this was our situation and Dad was going to be home for a while. And so we told the kids 2 days after, I think is what it was, they came to visit him, and we just told him that he had cancer and that he was sick.
But I do try and, you know, talk to them, you know, at least help alleviate some of their fears. And it's always kind of in the back of their minds, but if we can just be as normal as possible and, you know, talk about their friends or laugh about the day, then it's not so, you know, hard for them.
I like the spinach.
Healthy food.
All the health food we started eating this year.
Oh,
Come
yes.
on. Some of this health food you have to like.
No.
Come on.
Oh yeah, I do like some of it.
Like what?
Shrimp and let's see, what are they called? Sushi. Ice cream. Sorbet.
Ice cream.
Sorbet. Sorbet.
Well, that's probably not part of the good list, but.
What? Is being healthy?
Yeah, it's the organic kind again.
Organic sugar?
Yeah, organic
Yeah.
sugar.
Do they make organic ho-hos to go with our sorbet?
Yeah, you should go get some organic grass-fed ho-hos.
I know who
Organic
Ho-Ho
pancakes.
is.
Brandon?
I miss hot dogs.
Hey,
I don't really.
speaking of hot dogs,
Let's
And
go
marshmallows.
eat hot
we can go roast marshmallows tonight. And Starbursts.
No, the favorite word you can't say is anti-disestablishmentarianism. Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Or supersonic, idiotic, disconnected, brain affected, doopy dopey dumbbell. I don't think I've said that since I was your age. I can't believe I still know it. Which color? Brandon's got them. You better hurry before he eats them all.
but
Oh,
oh,
oh, look at that. Pink.
yellow.
Are you just eating the Starburst? Or are you roasting?
See, the other secret.
Please recite exactly what they said.
Like such as. Like such as. Places like such as.
Don't be crazy.
Yeah.
Check it out. Look at that.
Get bigger.
Look at it.
It's snowing.
It's exploding. No wait. Forgot. That's not.
What have we created? What have we done?
I feel like Frankenstein.
It's erupting. It's a volcano.
You hear so often people talk about how they would give anything to have one more day with a loved one. And I realize I've had that. That's what I got today. I got one more day. One more beautiful day.
They come home from school and we, and usually that time Bryce is at work and it's just me at home. So we try and get all of the homework out of the way before dinner.
Your perspective does change, where just simple things that don't matter work all of a sudden didn't matter at all. There's so much in a family that sets up a platform for building and teaching and communicating and growing and building happiness. It's such a satisfying thing for a father to recognize his child's passion and help him achieve satisfaction in that pursuit. All right. Probably one of the most frustrating things I'm going through, in a sense, is that I'm not feeling as capable. They call it chemo brain. I suppose it's, the chemotherapy is, just certainly destroying nerve cells in my hands and feet and mouth and nose, and those are the things you can feel the most. But also, apparently it does something with your brain, and I really enjoy doing these kinds of hobbies. I think my true passion and hobby is building a home for my family, and what it does to my mind is it's just numbers and seeing the whole conceptual project is difficult. It's clearly not the same for me right now, so that makes it difficult emotionally, as well as just physically trying to achieve these things. And I'm feeling really good right now. I love that I can come out and do this. It gives me a sense of purpose, and then this just feels great to be able to build something for my kids, my family, and myself. Elar! My brother Elar stopped by, and that was just really nice. He actually has been running a farm out in Nevada, about 300 miles away, and so he's in town, and he stopped by and to help finish up the backyard.
Well, should we get some sand?
Let's do it.
Let's get some sand.
This'll work. Is that the masonry sand over there? Yep. I got an outpouring of love and support from family, friends, community. Everything from just their time, their money, their efforts. It was hard to accept. It was hard to I was rejecting it initially. It was like, look guys, thank you so much, but I don't need handouts. Life isn't fair, and I accept that. My mom came to me, and she says, whoa, whoa, whoa. You've given your whole life. You're naturally a giver. And you look at your life and you're so grateful for all you've done, all those moments you've given. It would be nothing if there wasn't somebody to receive. And it is your turn to receive. You're in need. Don't refuse that love. And when I didn't, immediately the next day, it was like I opened a gate to let love in. And I bonded with people, and I bonded with my family, and I bonded with everyone. And the love was just overwhelming. And I felt so good. It just compounded how grateful I was for my life. Even though I was in pain, and I was miserable, and almost couldn't tolerate it, it made it tolerable. It made me feel like I could die that day in peace, and it wouldn't matter. But it made everything okay. I did a flyer essentially in a paper and posted a few places. And basically it says, our flower shop sells flowers that don't die. And so that's why we're trying to promote our business. It came from a day when my wife and I were doing some spring cleaning, and just a couple years ago. And we came across a shoebox. And inside was every card or note I'd ever written her. She kept those. And I bought her flowers a few times, you know, while we were dating and throughout our marriage. And when we were pulling out this box, she pulled out the card and she reads the note. And she goes on to tell me how much she remembers that moment. And one time it was a single rose. She knew what I was wearing, she knew what she was wearing, she knew the day, she knew everything about that moment. And I had this epiphany. And I looked at that and I thought, that $3 I spent on that rose, $5, whatever it was, or the $80 that time for something bigger, I bought a memory, and it didn't die. And I was looking at this little shoebox, and my only regret was that it was a little shoebox, and that I didn't do it more often. If my time is short, maybe she can watch a video here of me to be reminded how much I really do love her. How sorry I am. I hope with all my heart I get to see her again.
There's a million reasons why I married Bryce or why I fell in love with Bryce. And he can do anything. I mean, his nickname is MacGyver, and he is just that guy that I wanted to be the dad for my kids, you know, and before I ever had kids, and he is that guy. He's that and more. And I think part of the heartbreak that I have is just watching my kids that are so amazing too, but you know, I want him to be there to teach them those, and they still have a lifetime of things to learn. They have so much to learn. He has so much to offer them. That is just, no one can fill his shoes.
When I say, what do I want my kids to know? Love, kindness, and patience, integrity, and the paths in life that produce happiness, and the paths in lives that produce unhappiness. And I don't think it's so much a matter of passing on that knowledge, and that's the tragedy I feel, is that to instill those in people takes giving love, but takes example. And if I'm not going to be there to give that example, that's the tragedy in my life. I can't tell them this is true because it means nothing.
Life is just all moments. There's never going to be that stopping point or that arrival point where you get there and things are perfect. Your house is perfectly clean and now you can enjoy life, because there's always going to be something. I think that all of those moments need to be this moment. Sometimes you don't stop to experience the joys and I'm sorry, the little moments of happiness, and there's been so many.
What has made my life full are the long-term commitments. That's when you pour your soul out and give to build a relationship with someone else. Those are the things that make life beautiful. And being loved is so essential in our ability to grow and be happy. In an afterlife, your relationships, your actions, your kindness, the moments you shared, and the examples you set perpetuate, whether here in life or in the afterlife. How grateful I am to have had the opportunity to have a family. It is the single most naturally powerful element in producing happiness. And I think it's an enormous amount of work, and but the rewards have never been matched, and nothing I've done, seen, or experienced in life matches the purpose I feel and the happiness I feel of building a family.